already.
The Niners.
And then I saw that. I almost threw up in my mask a few times after I saw that.
Oh, what?
Over there.
Oh, University of Georgia?
That one. What?
No.
Oh my gosh! We need to speak to your parents. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
My parents were Georgia fans before I was in this.
Oh gosh. Okay, youngsters. Okay. Let's get started on our lesson before I lose
I'll
it. Is this from
confess
216?
that my mother and
I
all
can't
of
get
my
the Apple
aunts
TV.
and a lot of my family went to Georgia. But I did not go to Georgia because I went to Vanderbilt. So I don't cheer for the Dogs. But I also always have losing football, so
I like the Cougars.
the Cougars,
I like the Vikings.
I think lots of people like the Cougars here.
All right, well, youngsters, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started on why we're here. We've already went over the reasons of who we are and all those fun things. Hey, youngsters, the point of this presentation, as always, is that if you guys participate, it will be a better experience for all of us, because I just don't want to hear myself talk. I could stay at home and do that, right? But it's important that you guys bring it. Emma, you have a sense of humor. You're welcome to stay. The rest of you kids, you missed your opportunity. I know, Emma. They gonna catch up with us, baby, okay? Okay, here we go.
Okay, we start out with objectives, like you guys have in all of your other lessons. And starting out with this, I'm just going to go ahead and say that we are going to be serious today. We do have some time. Mr. Barber's a funny guy, right? He's got jokes, etc. And so we are going to do a little bit of that. But we ask that you guys be serious when we're talking about the things we're going to talk about. And we're talking about microaggressions, which I know some of you are saying, I don't know what that is. We're going to find out today. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Lots of adults don't know what that is. So what we're trying to do today is give you guys some information so that you can start now with doing things differently. Okay? So our first objective is that you're going to be able to recognize microaggressions. Then you're also going to understand that microaggressions have impact. And we're going to work together. We're going to learn some techniques to address microaggressions. Okay? I see a lot of faces going, I don't understand. You're going to understand in a little bit.
It's okay. Hey, if you're with us right now and you're alive and you at least know it's Monday, look at your neighbor and say, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Okay. And now if you just looked at your neighbor and said good morning, look at your neighbor and say, are you ready? Well, some of y'all brought it. Some of you brought it in the back. Some of y'all didn't bring it. We're going to do it again, though. We're going to look at our neighbor. That's the little person sitting next to you. Okay, and you're going to say, are you ready? Hit them.
Are you ready?
All right. We got to get the mood started off right. All right, so, well, what is a microaggression? This is going to be important because our whole lesson hinges upon us understanding this, okay? All right, so, microaggression. Whole lot of bullet points. So I'll start with the first one. Targets marginalized group and their identity. It could be race, it could be social, economic class, gender, nationality, ability, etc. And we're going to go through examples. Right. Next, verbal or behavioral or environmental slights. And we're going to talk about those. Microaggressions, often automatic and unintentional. You guys see Dr. G and I, we're here, we're supposed to present this and all this fun stuff. Can I tell you guys something though? It's impossible for any person to know about every culture. And even though I try to be as mindful as possible, I still am a perpetrator of microaggressions. Because it's just impossible for me to know everybody's culture and everything that may or may not offend them. So this isn't something for us to, as we go through today's lesson, it isn't like, oh, you're bad if you do this, because we're all going to do this. Even after I give this lesson today, I'm probably still going to do them after this for sure, because I have to learn and I have to be exposed to different things to know that there are microaggressions. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. So they also occur in brief instances on a daily basis, and we'll talk more about that. And they usually communicate some hostile or derogatory or negative viewpoints. And we'll talk about that. Cool, let's do it. So we have a video for you to watch. I'll tell you like I told the other class, pay attention to the content. The video is a little interesting, but the content is what I want you to pay attention to. All right, let's do it.
Still don't think that microaggressions are a problem?
Oh, you're so well spoken.
Oh, just imagine, instead of being a stupid comment, a microaggression is a mosquito bite.
Ugh, it's a compliment.
Oh. Mosquito bites and their itch are one of nature's most annoying features. But if you're only bitten every once in a while,
No, where are you really from?
Cleveland.
sure, it's annoying, but it's not that big a deal. The problem is that some people get bitten by mosquitoes a lot more than other people. I mean, a lot more. Whether it's on a date,
Oh, your English is so good.
Excuse me?
going grocery shopping,
You know, everything happens for a reason.
I'm just finding out.
commuting to work,
So when are you gonna have a baby?
watching TV,
We have to keep the Redskin thing. Part of our culture and history.
or just walking down the street with your partner.
I couldn't even tell you were gay.
Mosquitoes seem to pop up everywhere.
You know, John, you've been shopping at my old flat now. Sure.
Of course, beyond just being annoying, some mosquitoes carry truly threatening diseases that can mess up your life for years.
Astrophysics? Maybe you should try this challenging major.
Ow, my dreams.
And other mosquitoes carry strains that can even kill you.
It looked like he was up to trouble, okay? I felt threatened.
So next time you think someone's overreacting, just remember, some people experience mosquito bites all the time.
You're all so exotic. Wow.
And by mosquito bites, we mean microaggression.
All right. Did that clarify that a little bit more for some of us what a microaggression might be?
Yes.
Okay.
Does anybody have any comments or questions about
Yes.
that video?
You only get the comment and question now and never ever again. Okay. Okay, let's do it then. So sometimes when we hear a microaggression, we have that initial shock and we're not quite sure. And these are some of the things that are happening when we first hear a microaggression. We're asking ourselves these things. Did I hear that correctly? Did they say what I think they just said? Like, no way. Hey, raise your hand if you ever had that experience where somebody said something and you're like, no way, they just said that, right? Absolutely. Go ahead and put down your hands, right? You start to ask yourself, well, what did they mean by that? Should I say something? Saying something, is it going to make this situation better or is it going to make it worse? If I say something, will they think that I'm the one overreacting? Right? And also, is speaking up going to hurt? Again, is it going to make the situation worse than what it already is? Think about that. Okay. So, is this the time where I give my example? I think this is the time.
It
This
is the time. I was going
Okay.
to prompt you
So,
to
here
give
we
your
go.
example.
Let me give you my example. So part of my lovely job, which you all will want to be one day, is a culture and diversity specialist with the Georgia School District, in case you were wondering. What do I want to be when I get older? Not a professional athlete, but listen, no, want to be culture and diversity specialist. Why? Because it's amazing. Okay? So, anyway, I'm at a basketball game, a girls' basketball game, and I see this girl and she's balling, y'all. She is balling. I mean, this little lady's taking the, she's having a night out there. Behind the back, between the legs, left hand, right hand, layups, jump shots, three-pointers. She's crushing it, killing them out there, killing the competition. I cannot wait for the game to end so I can approach this young lady and tell her how amazed I am by her skills. So the game finishes up, of course, and I go over there. She doesn't know who I am, so I walk up to her. I'm kidding, I didn't do that. That'd be weird. No one ever walks up to you like that, do they? Some of you were like, whoa, you did that? No, I just walked up to her normal. And I was like, hey, young lady. And of course, she was startled. I said, hey, you was out there balling, baby. You was killing them left hand, right hand, behind the back, jump shot, three-pointer. You was killing them out there. You balled just like a boy. And then I walked away. I thought I was giving this young lady the best compliment in the world. I compared her basketball skills, her basketball acumen, to that of a young boy's. I was saying you were so skilled that you like a boy. And I thought that I was giving her a compliment. So, as we go through this today, we'll be mindful of what is the intent behind somebody's comment and what is the impact behind their comment. When I said that to that girl, what do you all think my intent was when I walked up to her and said, you was telling them out there, baby, behind the back, you balling on them. Hey, take about 5 seconds. Share with an elbow, buddy. What do you think my intention was when I said that to her? Hello, I'm your buddy. All right, let's bring it back. You back there in the gray sweatshirt. Or straight, yes, sir. Talk for me.
To compliment
Yeah, no, that's my intent. I was trying to pay her a compliment. I most definitely. Okay, that was my intent. What do you think the impact could have been? What do you think she might have got out of that comment? Think about that for a moment. Sure, where the elbow buddy go? What is it? What's the impact? Like when I said that to that young lady, what do you think she might have done when I said that to her?
Yeah, it's in language, literacy, and culture.
I love it. Okay. I'm gonna call on my crew back there because I was working with them. What could the possible impact be?
that a woman's skill couldn't be as good as a man.
Yeah, what she could have received in my great intended message is that your skills cannot be as good as a boy's skill. By golly, you're a girl. She could have received that. What's another impact? Anybody else have a possible impact? What could she possibly have heard when I said that?
You're as good as a boy, but that's the only way you should be compared because you're good, but you're only as good as.
You're only as good as the boys. You can't be better. You can maybe be as good, but you can't be better. Can I tell you all, that was not my intent at all. So sometimes intent and impact is very important for us to understand and try to look at, okay? All right.
Okay, so here are some strategies when we encounter a microaggression. So sometimes it's something that someone has said maybe to you, and you think, I did not feel good about what you just said to me, right? Even though Mr. Barber meant to say something nice, that girl might have come away from that thinking, no, right? I don't feel complimented like that. Sometimes it's things that you might overhear somebody else saying, and you think, I don't like that, and I'm going to need to say something to them so that they know that what they said was maybe hurtful to other people, right? But the main thing that we want to do today is we want to be able to go out and have conversations with people in a reasonable and kind of more adult way. Because what's the first thing that happens sometimes when someone hurts your feelings? What happens?
You get mad at them.
Yeah, right? You get mad at them. And I think, did you just say something ugly to me? And I think, I'm going to be ugly to you right back. Boom. Right? Which backfires sometimes. Doesn't change the person's behavior. And maybe sometimes makes us feel bad too. What's another thing that can happen sometimes when people say something that hurts your feelings? Sometimes you go straight. Other times, what happens? Anybody do something else when their feelings get hurt?
Oh, these kids' feelings must never get hurt.
They don't.
Oh man, y'all a resilient bunch. I like that.
Yes.
If my feelings get hurt, I will cry.
She will cry. I do that sometimes too, when I get frustrated also and angry. And sometimes I know some of you do this, so we'll see who does this too. Sometimes when people's feelings get hurt, were you raising your hand?
I just raised it.
Okay.
So, I have people like almost every year on the new school year. I don't know how to put it, like how put something in microaggression towards me or something like that. I don't know how to put it. But at this point, I'm used to it. Before, when I used to get it, when I like first moved to America, usually I would feel very upset. But things like when they said that, what did they think about it from their point of view? And usually I just think like they didn't think before they spoke. It's fine, blah blah blah, to make myself feel better. But usually.
Okay. So you would hold it in a little bit, maybe? What's over here with your hand up? What do you think?
When I first came out to the rest of my family, it was during Christmas. I didn't know quite how to react. My aunt asked, instead of asking in a nice way, she asked it in sort of like a sarcastic way, like, are we supposed to ask for your preferred pronouns? And that just came off like really like, that just felt like a gut punch. It wasn't towards me, it was towards my sisters. That still really hurt. I just kept quiet, keep peace, but it just felt really horrible.
Right.
That my own family would say something like that.
Exactly. And sometimes when you hold it in, right, then you think about that forever. Right? You think about it all day. You think about it the next day. You think about it next week. Right? We're going to work today on some strategies, and the first strategy that we use is take a breath. And that reason is we're going to collect our thoughts and our feelings. We're not going to jump right into saying something ugly back. We're not going to necessarily do our first thing. We're going to think. And so take a breath is taking a second to get your thoughts together. So we're going to actually physically take a breath. Okay? On the count of 3, everybody's going to breathe in, and then we're going to let it out. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Breath in. Now let it out. Right? So you can physically do it if you have to, right? But the main thing is take a second, because we're going to take a breath. We're not going to react in the first feeling that we have. We're going to evaluate our feelings and think, okay, I didn't like that. Why didn't I like that? We're going to then ask for clarification. Now, what do you guys think? Asking for clarification. What does this do? Yes?
Like asking, like, what do you mean by saying that type of thing? And then the person would actually think about what they would say.
Yes, very good, right? You ask for clarification because sometimes people might have meant to say something not nice. But a lot of times, people did not know the thing that they said was going to hurt your feelings or somebody else's. And that gives them a chance to say, wait a second. They're thinking about it now too. That's excellent. What else do you guys think for asking for clarification? Did you have another comment? Was it similar?
Just, it was similar.
Okay.
Ask them what they meant by the words they said.
Ask them what they meant. Okay. So we're going to take a breath. We're going to evaluate our feelings. We're going to ask for clarification. And then, once they've had an opportunity to give us a little bit more about what they meant or that they didn't understand, then we're going to express our feelings. And sometimes that can be as easy as, that hurt my feelings, or that made me feel yucky. It doesn't always have to be, because sometimes in the moment, even after you've done all this, we get to hear and you think, I do not know what to say about that still. Which is fine. Because hopefully, what happens is, in this classroom and in the school, you guys get comfortable enough having conversations that you guys can talk about your feelings with each other. And then people realize, I don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings. I don't want to make people feel bad. We're going to talk those things through. We're going to practice some of that today.
All right, if you with us, look at your neighbor and say, I'm with you. You know, the same neighbor that you had before. I said, if you're with us, look at your neighbor and say, I'm with you.
I'm with you.
All right, let's do it. So, Remember, you got to participate. So, two things we're going to be thinking about when we hear a microaggression. As we're taking a breath, and as we're evaluating our feelings, and as we're thinking about how to ask for clarification, we need to also think about maybe what is the intent and what's the impact, just like earlier, okay? So when someone says this, I don't see color. What's the intent? Those are your option choices. When someone says that, what's the intent? Hey, if you think it's A, let me hear you say A. If you think it's B, let me hear you say B. If you think it's C, let me hear you say C. Well, y'all don't know your alphabet. It's okay. Who thinks it's A? If someone says this, the intent is, you know what? That is just stupid. Okay? What about B? When somebody says this, what they're really trying to say is that I treat everyone equally. Who thinks it's B? Excellent. What about C? When someone says this, they're saying, I'm trying to be supportive. Excellent. So youngsters, as you looked around the room, none of us agreed that it was all the exact same answer. Because the beautiful thing about interacting with people is that we may view the exact same situation slightly different. And that's okay. This is why it's always a great time to ask for clarification on some of those other things. So that could be the possible intent, possible impact. This doesn't mean this is the only impact, but a possible impact is, as a person of color, what you're saying is that my experiences are irrelevant and that they're not different from yours. Now remember, you can have the best intentions in mind, but it's ultimately the impact. Right? I had the best intentions in mind when I was telling that girl she was a monster out there. A straight monster. I had the best intentions. But the impact maybe did not come across the way that I wanted it to. Right? Okay. So, let's do it. We're going to practice all the steps. So, you're out at the playground. You're at the lunch. You're doing whatever you're doing. You hear this. 2 kids to another kid. A kid to another kid. Quit acting retarded. All right? First thing is, we all take a breath. Exhale that. Start to evaluate your feelings. When you hear that, how is that making you feel? Now, some of you kids are probably wondering or saying to yourself, oh, I've never said that. Well, let me tell you, all these examples that we have are from kids within our district that we've heard either say this out at the playground, in the lunchroom, to each other, in the hallways between class changes, or whatever have you. So it is stuff that kids around your age probably say, or they say something like it, right? So, we all took a breath. We evaluated our feelings, how we were feeling. If someone said this, what could we ask for clarification? Maybe they said it to you. Maybe they said it to a friend. Maybe they said it to another group of kids on the table, but you heard it.
What did you mean by that?
Yeah, that would be a great way to start. Yes. What did you mean by that? Excellent. What else could we ask for clarification? What else could we say?
I would say like, hold up. Wait a minute. Did you just say that?
I love it. I love it. I love it. Interject a little humor, but you trying to really get the person to be reflective, right? Like, hold up. Wait a moment. Did you just say that? Trust me. If he said that to me, I'd go, oh my gosh. What did I just say? Let me think about it. I love it. What else could we ask for clarification? We hear somebody say this. Okay, fine. What is the intent? When a kid says this to another kid, what is the intent? What are they trying to say? What are they implying when they say this to another student? What's some possible intents? Because we don't always know, right? Give us one.
To hurt them?
To hurt them could be. What's another one? What's another intent when somebody says this?
To like stop doing that?
Stop doing that. Okay, I love it. What's another intent, possible intent, when someone is saying this to someone else?
Maybe they were joking around, but they come out as a joke.
Okay. I think all those things would be accurate, and whatever everybody else is thinking they didn't share out loud is probably very accurate too, right? So I love that. So we take a breath. We evaluate our feelings. We ask for clarification. Well, let's say the person said, you know what? I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I apologize. What if the person said, So what? And hold up, wait, did I hear you right? And I say, you did hear me right. The first time. How do we express our feelings? Do we still express our feelings? I don't know. What are you thinking?
I think like if they like still meant it like not as a joke but really, I would be like kind of sad but also mad at the same time.
Yeah. If they doubled down on it, that would make us kind of feel probably a little sad and a little bit upset, right? Yes.
Call them out. Call them out.
Yeah, call them out. I love that. I love that. Absolutely.
Right.
Love that. Okay.
And you can say, whoa, what, well, I don't think that was cool. Or that made me feel bad. Or that would hurt people's feelings. Sometimes people don't know why the thing is not necessarily a good choice. And a little explanation helps. But one of the things that we also want to make sure that everybody gets today is we're not trying to change everybody's mind. Because there are some times where somebody will say something and you will think, that is terrible. And when you point it out to them, they say, I don't care. There are times where you're not going to be able to change people's minds. And the goal today is not that every time we do this, we change somebody's mind. The goal is that we go through the steps. If some people are going to disagree with us, sometimes we have to walk away from that. Sometimes we can't change them.
All right, let's do it. Next one.
Oh, okay. Two kids to each other on the playground. One of them says to the other one, you play like a girl. So what's our first thing we're going to do? We're going to take a breath. We're going to take a minute to think about why that made us feel a certain way. And then, who can help me here to ask for clarification? What do you think?
Well, first, I am a girl, so that's not really an insult,
Right.
because I am a girl and I play like what I am.
Okay.
But, I'm not sure what you meant by that. Could you please clarify what you said?
All right, I'm not sure what you meant by that. Can you clarify? Who's got another question? Yes.
What did you mean by that? Do you mean to actually play like a girl, or you're saying you want me to try harder?
Right. Because sometimes I think people think, well, there's nothing wrong with that. But maybe it makes us feel not so great, right? So we're going to ask for clarification. And then we're going to express our feelings. And we got a little bit of that over here, right? Where she was like, well, I am a girl. And so, yeah, I'm going to keep playing like one. Right? But let's say some of the boys here, what do you think? Somebody says you play like a girl, you ask for clarification, you get a little more information. What are we going to say after? What are we going to say if somebody says you play like a girl and you say, what do you mean by that? And they say, I mean, you're terrible at basketball. Yes.
The thing is, I'm almost trans, so I'm not sure how that would particularly make me feel, because if I identify as one, how is that going to be an insult in a way? I don't really have a way to express my feelings. I guess I'd tell them that I'm almost trans, in a way.
You can do that. Who's got another suggestion? Yes.
Now, this might not be very ethical, but I'd say, shut up.
Again, you might want to say that, and I would also want to say that, right? I've got all sorts of sassy that I could come up with if you tell me that doing something as a girl is less than doing something as a boy. But we're going to try and be more measured in the things that we're going to say. So I appreciate that answer. But who can give me something else that's maybe a little bit more? How about over here, you?
You could like challenge them with something else to see if you're better than them in something else.
physical feats of strength maybe, but how about using our words?
I don't really care what you think I play like, because I can act even worse if I wanted to.
These guys are doubling down. Okay, one thing to remember, we don't want to escalate, right? We want to make sure that we're keeping it, as Mr. Roberts says, we don't want to go up here.
Everybody, do it with me. Bring your hand up here. We don't want it up here. We don't want it up here, yo. We want to bring it down. Not up, no, but down. Up, up. And the hands go up.
Because we're hoping for thoughtful consideration, right? Not necessarily an escalation of what this other person has started. Okay? Ready?
Okay, you guys got it. Hey, this next scenario, this is what I want you to do. Listen to these instructions because I only will repeat them 5,000 times. Okay, here we go. The next scenario we're going to show is going to have a different scenario, same set of instructions. You by yourself, you take your breath, you go ahead and evaluate your feelings. With the partner you're sitting next to, discuss what could you do to ask for clarification. Hey, what if you were the kid who said it? What if you were the one who actually said it? What could you maybe do to address that microaggression if you're the one that said it? Cool? You guys got it? All right, here we go. Your scenario is that's lame. You take a moment. You go ahead. You take your breath. You evaluate your feelings right now. Maybe you're feeling some kind of way. Maybe you're not. Share with the neighbor right now. What could you say? What could you do to get clarifying questions for this one? You ain't got no partners, alright? That's why I'm here. Because you ain't got nobody sitting next to you. What you think? What does that mean if somebody says that? What do you think they're What does language mean? Okay. So what are they implying by saying this? What's the intention? Baseball. Let me see. So if I said that to them because I didn't know this, I love all of these sports. Tennis, water polo, I hate these sports. And now I've heard that after you ask for clarification, how could you Good. All right, let's bring it back. All right. So, you took a breath, you evaluated your feelings, you asked for clarification. Now you expressed your feelings. Well, let's talk about it. What is the intent when somebody says, whatever it is, that's lame? Football, that's lame. Art is lame. Whatever. What is the intention? What is someone implying when they say that something is lame? Well, I want a new voice. I want this voice.
Oh crap.
Why y'all say it like that, G?
Take a breath.
Whoa. What's your thoughts? What do you think it means when somebody says, that's lame? Yeah, you would ask for clarification is what do you mean by that, right? Okay. Anybody else? If someone were to say that that's lame.
It depends on the thing that they're calling lame.
Ooh, clarify, please. No, I'm serious. I'm not. Like, what do you mean? It depends on what they're calling lame.
Like, if they say something is lame and you agree with that,
Okay.
then maybe it depends on like if they're saying like football's lame, you might not agree with that. But if you say basketball's lame, you might agree with that.
Ooh, so then if I'm understanding you right, is that if me and agree if something's lame, then it's fine that we say that it's lame.
No, it's not okay.
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to get from you, young man. Am I understanding you correct? Is that if and I can both agree that cats are lame? Just an example, y'all. Just an example.
What?
If and I agree that cats are lame, then it's fine that we say cats are lame.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Hey, I just wanted clarification.
I think
Excellent.
we might need to clarify why
Okay.
that's lame.
So yes. So can I tell you guys a secret? I learned out what this really means last Friday. Now, I'm not saying you kids don't know what it means already, but Dr. G may give us a little insight as to actually what the term means, and we may find out that it may have a little bit more impact than some of us have been using. Because guess what? I know adults that say this. And before Friday, I said it pretty freely too, because I didn't know the impact of it. But once I got educated, then I can make better decisions. Tell us, Dr.
And
G.
this is a good example of sometimes where Mr. Barber and I always say, well, we do this too, because I did this too. And someone pointed out to me that this hurt her feelings. And I said, what? Why? Because I use that word to mean kind of dumb or stupid or whatever, like not cool, like lame. But if you have a problem with mobility, if you have an issue with walking, that's lame. That's what that word actually means. And so in her mind, when I said that, that hurt her feelings and was ableist. And she didn't like it. So now I reconsider when I use this. Because even though that had never occurred to me, when I said it, it hurt somebody's feelings. And she didn't like the way it made her feel. So now I try and not do it. Now I could have said to her, well, I use that word all the time. Everybody uses that word. That's not a big deal. But to her, it is a big deal. And to a group of people who fall in this category, it is a big deal. So sometimes when we're thinking about something, again, we're talking about marginalized groups. We're talking about identity. It's not me saying I don't like your shirt and you feeling upset about that. I know, right? Like, oh, no, it's deeper, deeper, deeper than that. It's about identity, and it's groups that are not the big group, right? The minority is who we're talking about.
So now that you guys actually know what it means, imagine if somebody of a very small population actually did have a physical disability and they did have a problem with their mobility. Well, guess what? Back to the whole mosquito bite thing. You might say it once, oh my gosh, that's lame. Imagine how many times they might hear that. Imagine the impact it might have for them, right? And again, you have to be mindful that we're all going to make a mistake, and the best way to go about it is to start off by saying, I'm sorry. Hey, we should practice that. On the count of 3, why don't you guys, and hey, no, listen. Sometimes we can say sorry in a joking manner, and we've all been here, right? Where somebody did something to us and they said, I'm sorry in a joking manner. And if you guys are anything like me, you go, man, that was pretty weak and you could have saved your sorry. Because you don't really mean it. You can tell when somebody means sorry. Sometimes somebody doesn't even have to say sorry. You can look in their eyes and you can feel that they're sorry for whatever they did. So I want you to practice saying a genuine sorry on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there you go. All right, so
that's our last one.
So now with that being said,
Yes.
I told you guys that we go out to schools and these examples that we have are examples that we hear of students that are within our school district and whatnot. Are there any microaggressions that you may hear that whether it's to you or to somebody else or in your community that you would like us to practice these strategies with?
And it can even be something where you think, is that a microaggression? Because sometimes now we start to think everything might be a microaggression, which we can parse out a little bit if you have questions.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Okay. Sorry, I had to see your name, guys. What's up?
Can swearing be a microaggression? microaggression?
Could swearing be a microaggression? That's a very good question. Now, just so you know, we're not the microaggression aficionados. That means that we are people and we may get some things wrong too, right? But I don't know, in my opinion, I think I'd have to know more about that, like is the swearing directed towards you and some other things, because then that would obviously not be okay. What are your thoughts, Dr. G?
I think also there are some terms in the English language and in every language that are more targeted toward minority groups. And those things, I think, could easily be a microaggression. Or sometimes we call those microassault, where I say something ugly, I know it's ugly, and I say it to hurt your feelings, and I choose a specific word. That sometimes falls under this category.
Right. So I don't know about swearing specifically. Let's go back here and then we'll come right here.
One time I experienced a microaggression. I'm not really in the best physical shape, but I do like wrestling. So one time I told someone, I really like wrestling, I think it's fun. And they're like, oh yeah, you'd be really good at sumo wrestling.
Ooh, let's practice this. So
Yeah, that's not
So, you're out at the playground or wherever this happens, you're in the lunchroom. You guys, you just overhear it. You overhear it. You're over there, you're eating lunch together or whatever with your friends, or you playing at the playground, or you're walking through your neighborhood. You hear someone say this to him. Let's practice. Everybody, let's take a breath on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Start to evaluate your feelings. Right now, when you're evaluating your feelings, start to think, well, what was the intent? What did that person mean? Right? Start to think to yourself, what can I do to ask for clarifying questions? Because sometimes the person who just had that microaggression on them, they don't know what to say at that moment. They have a lot more emotions than maybe you do if you're not involved in it. What can we do to ask for clarifying questions? Great. You overhear him say it. What could you ask? Clarifying questions. Hit us with it.
What do you mean by things? Why? What do you mean?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What else could we say? What else could we say? What else could we say? I'm glad he looked at his name tag, y'all. I said his name and he was like, me?
That is me.
Me? Yeah, sir. What would you say?
Like, what did you mean by, like, what you said? Like, did you mean that was, like, like, you'd be good at it, or do you mean that, like, in a weird way?
Okay, excellent, because I think there would be some clarification. I love it. And then, ultimately, you always get to express your feelings. Would you like to share with us what you said, or did you say anything in that particular situation? And you don't have to share with us if you don't want to, that's fine.
I just kind of walked away and never talked to that person.
Okay, but now you have some strategies, and that may end up being that result anyway, but what do you think you might do different? Because you have the right to express yourself. What could you possibly have said to that person?
I could have said, why would you say that? That's really rude.
Absolutely, and then guess what? And then if you wanted to walk away, you could still walk away, right? Absolutely. Or you could just walk away anyway, right? Sometimes not all these strategies are going to be appropriate, and they don't always need to be used. It kind of depends on how you're feeling. All right, who has another example for us? Microaggression, oh yeah, right here. Do you have one too? Okay, you next. Okay, hit us.
So,
Loud and clear, because my man back there, he needs to hear you.
So, I know people, I'm not going to say names, but I know people who have used the word gay as an insult.
Okay.
I am questioning myself, so hearing a word that's just used to describe someone's identity as an insult really hurt me.
Okay.
But I talked to them and they realized that the word is not supposed to be used in that manner.
Okay. Well, do you mind if we walk through this scenario? Because guess what? We most definitely hear kids saying that out and about too, that that's gay. Or, oh my gosh, that was so gay, or whatever. We absolutely hear kids saying that out at the playgrounds and schools and lunchrooms, wherever we are. Absolutely. So, everybody, you hear somebody say that. Let's practice the steps. Take a breath. Exhale. Start to evaluate your feelings. How are you now feeling about this? It's important. Start to ask yourself, well, what was the intent? What could the possible impact be? Someone says that. That's so gay. That's gay. What are some clarifying questions we might want to ask that individual? What's something we could ask them?
I'd be like, what do you mean by that's gay?
What do you mean by that's gay?
Do you know what the word actually means?
Ooh, do you know what the word actually means? Like, have you looked it up in the dictionary? Have you? Probably not. You probably haven't Googled that, right? Okay. Anybody else? Clarification? Okay. And then ultimately, we always have the right to express our feelings, right? Okay. Give us one.
Okay, so I'll plan my game, right? I'll plan some Fortnite. And
Okay, Fortnite, y'all. He's setting the stage for us. Fortnite.
Okay, so I'm playing Fortnite. I'm in this random squad game. I have voice chat on, and this guy, he calls me a black bean, and I'm like, what the freak did you just say to me? And then I left the game.
See, that's actually not even a microaggression. That's kind of also what we were talking about before, which is more of a micro assault, right? Like that person might have thought that was funny, maybe. Let's give him a little grace and say he's a terrible comedian, but he thought that was funny. But also maybe chose those words for that specific reason, right? And so again, yeah, you take a breath. We could ask for clarification. Anybody have a good clarification on that one? Sure.
Are you just a really bad comedian?
Yeah. Are you just a really bad comedian? Right? Did you think that was funny? Right? And then we express our feelings. I like that you just turned off the chat and left.
And I was really hungry.
Sometimes that happens. But okay. So these are our strategies for when things like this happen. And then we're going to leave you guys with some things to remember. The first one here, because I think, are we out of time? Or are we running into your other? Allow a space for grace. What does that mean? Yes.
Now that they might not know what they did, and like ask them before you try to fix the problem.
Sure. We're going to assume that everybody's got good intentions. We're going to assume the best intentions of everybody. We're not going to go into things assuming that people are trying to hurt other people's feelings or that people are mean on purpose. We're going to allow space for grace. We're going to let them give us more information. Okay? The next one.
Address the microaggressions when they happen. Even if you're not quite sure to express exactly why it's making you feel a certain way, it's better to say something at that moment, because then the person who said something, they can start to think, man, what did I say that could have possibly been misunderstood, right? Okay.
The last one is important. Repair the damage in the same way it was caused. And what we mean by that is, if I say something ugly, and I later just apologize to Carissa, just the two of us in the hallway, and nobody else ever hears me say that, that doesn't repair the damage if the thing I said happened in here in front of everybody. Because then everybody else still thinks, oh, Dr. G said that, and Carissa's fine with it, and I guess we're all fine with it, when we're not fine with it. So I need to repair the damage in here, instead of just one-on-one with her. A one-on-one apology is very nice, and yes, please do that. But also think, I need to let everybody else know that I made a mistake, and I know I made a mistake. And I'm sorry for that. I'm not going to do it again.
So, we hope that you got your objectives, that we talked about those things. Hey, if you guys ever need help, always email or call Dr. G first, okay? when you're like, ooh, I want to talk to Mr. Barber, it's okay, email and call Dr. G first. And then call me. No, I'm kidding. Hey, we love you kids. Thank you guys for being amazing.
Yes.
And hey, you guys have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Or your week, I guess. And then for the weekend, go Niners. Go Niners. Go Niners.
All right, thank you guys for participating so well.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Sorry for being
No, you're fine. Boys and girls, get out your Chromebook and go to your